Before I get into everything, one of the things that I'm absolutely passionate about in this company, and I joined the company over 20 years ago, is the ALC. And the focus of the company on the ALC, if we're running the company according to our models and systems, our focus is on helping our ALCs do more business, build more business, and build financial security through passive income. And so we're going to be talking about passive income from a number of directions, but the number one, or the first one, is profit sharing. It takes no money, infinite return on investment. And for somebody who understands wealth building, that should be the most important and passionate part. How can I create passive income for myself and my family? And interestingly, everybody knows we can do it in real estate, but it takes money. So anyway, let's get going. So I teach the ALC clinic, and I appreciate this opportunity to get together with you guys. In 1976, I was living in New York, and I moved to Arizona in '76 to go to Arizona State University. And I thought my goal was I wanted to be in management at United Parcel Service. I saw those guys were making good money, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. So I got to Arizona, and I found out things had changed, and so and I loved it here, but there were no jobs available for transportation. And so in 1977, I got my real estate license, and this is what we looked like in 1977. Okay. So a couple of changes since then, but so I joined Keller Williams in 1997. I was 27 years in the business. I was building a real estate team. I was the number 4 agent in the entire Phoenix market in listings and sales. And so that's why Keller Williams came to me at that time and said, we want to share with you our opportunity. And quite frankly, when I took a look at that opportunity that Keller Williams had, having been already 20 years in the industry at the number 1 company in Phoenix, I knew that there were other people that were retiring from the military, they were retiring from the fire department, the police department, they were retiring with pensions, and I was going to get nothing. And so when they shared with me the idea of profit sharing, it's the reason why I joined Keller Williams, because I was into passive income. How do I create passive income for myself? And quite frankly, I was doing it with real estate. My broker told me at the very beginning of my career, he said, you want to be a millionaire? Go $1 million in debt and have somebody else pay it off for you, which made total sense. I did that. And in 1986, Congress changed the tax laws so that we could no longer write off our negative cash flows. And they bankrupted the savings and loans industry. At the same time, the oil industry went down, and so lost over $1 million worth of real estate, because the strategy for acquiring it did not require positive cash flow. It was the IRS will help you take care of a negative cash flow, so why not? And go in and acquire more. So in 2004, I got the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Business Journal. And why? Because of influence in the marketplace. But I joined Keller Williams, and I'm part of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. I was part of the original mastermind group that created that. And I want to tell you the backstory. You guys are leaders in the company. So when Gary and Dave and Jay wrote the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, they used us as role models. How do you run your team, and what are the models, what are the systems you do? And then they went outside of the Keller Williams mastermind that we had, which only had 12 people in it. And by the way, Gary said masterminds would never be bigger than 20 people. We've exceeded that exponentially at this point. But if you look in the back of the book, they found 52 people that qualified because they were making more than $1 million in gross commission income. And they went across the United States. And if you look in the back of the book, there's 25, 26 little mini 2-page bios of the people and their teams and their business at that point in time. So in the MREA book, there's a statistic, and that is the average size of a database for somebody that's making more than $1 million a year in gross commission income. And by the way, our sales price was averaging 100,000 at the time, was 1,920 people. So let's just round it up to 2,000. There was a lady in the back of the book, her name is Christina Martinez, you can look her up. She only had 400 people in her database, not 2,000. She made 4.3 million that year. And so how did she do it? By helping the people in her database by income producing property, which qualified them to buy another one that produced income, which provided another one that, and she made with 1 or 25%, she made 4 times as much. So I was at a baseball game with Dave Jenks, and he told me, he said, when he and Gary saw her as the outlier, that's why they wrote the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book. In fact, their intention was to Buy Your First Home was the book that they intended to write next. But when they saw her, they said, how do we help our agents do what Christina Martinez did? So, hence the Blue Book, and I was a contributor to that book as well. And then a number of years later, we wrote the book Hold. Actually, it was a 4 or 5 year project, and the reason that we wrote that book is not for you to read it, although I would encourage you to read the book. It's for you to give it to your clients and have them read it and use it as a lead generation tool. And so we're going to talk more about that, but I'm going to encourage you, don't buy it on Amazon, buy it from Keller Inc. and buy it by the case. And I think it's about $10 a piece if you buy it by the case instead of $25 a piece. And we wrote that specifically. What is that? It's the safe, secure strategy for buying and investing in real estate, which is what your clients want. The reason they don't do it is because there's fear involved, and unless you're answering the fear, they're not going to move forward. So this is what I do when I'm having fun. And so I play bass guitar in a rock and roll band. And so the name of the band is Group Therapy, and we have 3 sessions a night, and hopefully people are feeling better when we're done. So here's the deal. If you're taking notes, I want you to headline this whole conversation about building your business by helping your clients create financial security. And if you've been to Bold, you know, I was a Bold instructor for 2 years, and if you've been to Bold, you know that it's be, do, have, right? And now it's be, do, achieve. But the thing is, you have to be the person that knows and understands and has the financial intelligence to make that happen. And I want to encourage you to use the platform that you have. The platform is Keller Williams. And our platform is so much bigger and stronger if we'll actually use it than any of the other platforms that are out there. And so while we know that there's challenges and Command has glitches, it's getting better and better, but we're #1 in the world. So the first thing I want to encourage you to do is build your referral network on other people that are interested in building wealth with real estate so that you can create opportunities, not just where you are, but across the country. And I'll share with you a story about how that's working and my personal interest in investing, not just in Phoenix, but outside of Phoenix. So what do we have? What are our competitive advantages that we have available to us? Look, you're the ALC. And if you're not using our competitive advantages, neither will your market center. And if you're not interested in using them, I'm going to suggest to you get off the ALC. Don't say I'm a leader and not use the platform. So I hope you don't take offense at that. But the bottom line is, it's like you're leading wherever you're going. So what do we have? We've got Kelly and Command. We've got the referral network. I want you to use that strategically to build your wealth. We've got all of these other things, including the book, and the book Hold, again, is a lead generation tool. So the first thing I want you to do is recreate your GPS. And I want you to specifically put in a strategy of doing investor seminars. So if you, and there's 2 types of seminars you can use. When Dave and Gary wrote the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book, not only did they write the book, but they produce the PowerPoints, the material to invite people to come, and everything that you need to say in the seminar. So if you're not the right person, who on the ALC is? And are you coming together as an ALC to make sure the seminars are happening because your people want to be there? And then in your 411, it's like, how many investor deals do you intend to do this year? You need to invest. If you don't have a vision for this, it's not going to happen. If you're not setting a goal for it, it's not going to happen. So I'm suggesting that you put it on your GPS, you put it on your 411, and you identify, this is how I'm going to achieve my goals. Use command and get started with the investor. Actually, I'm creating investor smart plans for different types of investors so that it reduces my workload. And I'm going to tell you that people are enjoying the market updates that they're getting on the KW app. People are commenting on it. People are enjoying the fact that, and in my world, I have investors that that are interested in properties, not just where they live, but in other subdivisions where they own investment properties. Wherever that happens to be, they can do that in my app. And the app comes and says, hey, Jim Smith was looking at properties or checking out properties, and use it, put it together, make it work. Number one. Number two, if you have investors that you're working with already, right now, using the 0+ mortgage program to help them refinance their properties, pull cash out to buy another one, reduce the cash flow or reduce the expenses and increase the monthly cash flow. If you're not using this right now, oh my gosh, create more leads by going out there and saying, hey, I can save you thousands of dollars on a refinance. Would you like to talk about how that should happen? So I just want to encourage you, use the platform that we have, build on that platform, because Gary's investing millions and millions and $1 billion to make that platform stronger and stronger for us. We're going to come out ahead with all of this. So, sorry about that. Okay, so here's the takeaways for today. Number one, your clients, your friends, and your family need you to be what?
More. Provide them information.
Okay, but they need you to be
More.
more. They need you to be more than you've been before. They need to see you as being more. You're not the person that helps them buy and sell a house that they want to live in. You're the person that meets all of their real estate needs. And so that conversation needs to be bigger with them. Number two, you're going to achieve more if you got a powerful team. And we talk about that both in the MREI book and in Hold. And you can create more business with your current database. And then finally, we want you as the ALC to be the leaders in passive income, in investing, in building wealth. And I want to stop just a second here. I've been teaching this. I travel around the country. I teach the ALC during the day, and then I have everybody in the market center bring all their clients to come and hear the author. And I encourage them on how to buy properties. Excuse me, I said that wrong. I encourage them to use their agents to acquire properties, because when they come out of the seminar, they're like, can you help me do this? Can you help me do this? You need to be credible to make that happen. We want you to be the first buyer for every listing that you create. We want you to have more business, more passive income, and every single listing that you create, you should be doing an investment analysis on what kind of investment would this listing look like. And if you're not going to be the buyer for it, then one of your clients should be, and you should be sending it out to everybody. And we'll talk about the script for that in a little bit. Okay. All right. Now, here's the fundamental principle. And Zig Ziglar said this. Everybody knows this statement. But the thing is, have you actually created a business plan around this statement, around this truth? And that's what I'm encouraging you to do, is to create a business plan around this. You can get everything in life that you want. What?
If you would just help others get what they want.
Okay, now I want to hear everybody say that, because it needs to be a mantra.
If you would
Yourself.
just help.
Just help others
get what they want.
Right.
Enough other people get what they want.
Exactly. So if you're going to help enough other people, that's our premise. That's the foundation for growing and building your business. And then Teddy Roosevelt says, well, nobody cares how much you know. So you could be the best expert in financial intelligence, but the thing is, if you don't care about them or they don't know that you care about them, it doesn't even matter. So now your strategy is demonstrating that you care about them. Well, let's talk about it a second. A number of years ago in NASDAQ, there was a headline that says Americans have relatively poor net wealth. And I'm going to blow this up so you can see it. But it says a majority of Americans may be financially and economically what?
Literate.
What does illiterate mean?
They don't know anything about it.
Right.
We don't know anything about it.
It doesn't mean stupid. It means they don't know what they don't know. And the majority of Americans, so many have nothing, likely will never have anything, but over 65% of American adults have a net worth under 100,000. Now, it's gone up. This was 2013. It's gone up since then. Maybe it's 120, maybe it's 150. But look at in Australia, because they have a superannuation plan instead of Social Security, over 65% of adults have a net worth exceeding 100,000. Do you suppose it's cultural? I'm going to suggest to you that it is, and that we have a culture here of financial illiteracy, economic illiteracy. They don't know what they don't know, but nobody wants to be poor. So, but the reality is, and for many people, reality sucks. As the second half of 2019, the average savings rate hovered around 5%. The median 401k is only $110,000. The average 401k balance at retirement of age 60 is $230,000. Many Americans are financially screwed. Now, this isn't my language. This comes from the Financial Samurai, right? If you add the average Social Security payment of $18,000 a year to a 4% withdrawal rate, which is what the financial planners will tell you to do in your IRA, your 401k. If you just take out 4%, you can preserve your wealth and you can live off the rest. Why, you can live happily ever after for $27,000 a year and all the way till 85. But, oh, wait a minute, what happens if you live till 86? So, I believe that this is a multi-generational issue. And the reason I'm saying that is because I want you, if you're putting on the seminars, you make sure that the families come. Not just one person, because I've had it so many times where the wife says, oh, I wish my husband would have come, but he had other plans. He was going golfing. Or grandpa and grandma come and we can talk more about that. But grandpa and grandma own houses that are free and clear, and that equity is doing nothing for their family. And there's a strategy we can use to make a difference, okay? Now the deal is we're programmed to make money in the stock markets, what everybody says. Put your money in a 401k, have your company match the money in the 401k and watch it grow. And so it's as good as they get. I'm going to suggest, how many of you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Okay. So I see a couple hands up. I don't see everybody on the screen here. Look at the bottom right here where he says, where Kiyosaki says, savers are losers. Savers are losers. It's a premise that he develops in there, but I want you to look at the tagline. This isn't about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. What's it about? It's what the rich teach their kids about money that the poor and the middle class do not. Why don't they? They're financially and economically illiterate. And unless they learn to do it, they don't know what to teach their kids. And so that's the whole thing. And what they focus on is the poor and the middle class focus on their savings. They focus on their bank account. How much money do I have in my bank account? Because they see that as being security, the cash in the bank account. And if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. Cash is not an asset. Cash is a tool with which to acquire assets that create cash flow. Cash is not an asset. Cash loses value every year. An asset puts money into your pocket. And it's why Kiyosaki says your house is not an asset. Yet most of people's equity is in their house. So they track savings as opposed to tracking net worth. And I'm going to show you, this is the tool that I use to track net worth. And so, so if you look at, and Jessica, I'll be happy to share this with the ALC if you want a copy of it.
That would be fantastic.
When we're looking at net worth, this is just a spreadsheet, and the yellow part is, this is what I own. And so the first part of it is, what are paper assets, okay? Well, what kind of stocks do I have? How many shares? How much did it cost me for them? How much cash flow am I getting from them? What's the current value? So consequently, what's my ROI? Has it gone up in value? Fantastic. But our goal is to create passive income, cash flow, and we have to cash in the stocks, pay taxes on what we do, and then what are the other paper assets? Well, you see some examples here. And then you got real estate. And then you've got my businesses. What do I have? My real estate practice. Is it systematized? Could I sell it to somebody? Or is it just me and I have an S job in business? And then what are the other assets? So on the yellow, yeah, this is what I own. On the gray side, this is what I owe. So if I got credit card debt, or if I've got a mortgage on my house, or whatever liabilities I have. So what is net worth? Well, it's really simple. It is, what are my assets minus my liabilities? Here's what I have left over. Now the rich people focus on this, not how much they have in the savings account, while the poor and the middle class are putting money into a savings account, and then they put money into a mutual fund and hope it does good. And then they put money into a 401k and they hope it does good. What we're focused on here is passive income, and how much are my assets throwing off in passive income for me. So right now, let's just say that and I'm going to pick specifically on KW Profit Share. How much does it cost you? $25 a year to stay a part of Keller Williams Profit Share system. How much am I getting in passive income? Well, if I'm getting $500 a month in passive income, look at the rate of return that I'm getting. Why? Because I'm focused on ROI. I'm focused on creating financial security and wealth. Now, I said I was going to talk about wealth for a minute. I go around the country and I teach this, and I've taught it to hundreds of Keller Williams agents, and I've taught it to thousands of their clients. And interestingly, I've just done an ad hoc study where I say, wealth. Does that resonate with you? And interestingly, the answer is no. The word wealth does not resonate now. They think wealth means Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Mark Cuban, people with big money that they can't even think that they're going to achieve. But everybody wants financial security. Everybody wants financial independence. And so if what we did was define wealth as financial security or financial independence, remember, people grow into the conversation that you create around them. The language that you use is important as you're communicating to them and showing them that you actually do care, okay? So, show you some statistics. Let's just look here. Retirement savings, average savings versus suggested savings, retirement years. You can see that this is what you're suggested to have. This is what the people actually had, according to Pew Research 3 years ago. Net worth with and without home equity. Let's just look at retirement years. Median net worth, $223,000. I just updated this in January of this year. Median, what does that mean? Half of the people have more, half of the people that you know have less. But if you take their home away from them, it's only $86,000. So if they needed to use the $223,000, oh, by the way, does the $223,000, the amount that's home equity, does that create cash flow for them? Say no. No, not at all. They would have to sell the house and do something to create cash flow in order to supplement their retirement. There is a need here, and they need you to be more. Now, I'm going to share, this is a lot of numbers on here, but the myth is that the market averages 6 to 10%. Leave your money in for the long term. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, but you're going to get somewhere between 6 and 10% return on investment. And so most financial people will come and say to you, well, if that's the case, let's just assume 8%. We'll kind of go in the middle. So I did this the other day. I started with, this is the Dow Jones Industrial Average starting in 2000, and you made a negative 6%, and then a negative 7, and then a negative 17. And then in 2003, it went up 25%, and then 3, and then down. So what you see is volatility. And what you see is a roller coaster. But if you average all of these numbers over the last 20 years, it gave you 5.27% average return on investment. So let's just get real with the numbers and what people are talking about. So the reality is actually a little less than the 6% that they were talking about. Are you following me here? Okay. All right. So what's happening right now? We're in the stock market. Here's our year-to-date returns. If you bought stock in January of this year and you bought in and just did an index fund along the Dow Jones, it went down because of COVID, and now it's come back up. But the stock market has returned a negative 5.67% so far this year. And I'll just go back. I included that number here at the bottom. So it's in the average. Okay. So now let's just take a look at Phoenix. And I'm going to suggest to you that somebody inside of your ALC and your market center, if you don't have these numbers available to you, somebody needs to track them. Just go get them. And what we're doing is we're looking at what is the average dollars per square foot, sales price per square foot, dollars per square foot of houses that's sold in the Phoenix area. So if you look all the way back here to 2000, we were at $96 a square foot. We went through this huge bubble here in Phoenix, and ours was worse than most. And we went all the way, my average sales price went from $130,000 up to $300,000 and then dropped back down to $110,000. We got hit really, really hard in 2008, 2009. And then we bounced along. And then in 2011, Wall Street started buying properties. And people started back into the market. Now we're back up. And over the last 10 years, so if we take a look at this and we take the average appreciation over that 20-year period of time, our houses in Phoenix went up 4.5% per year, every year, year after year after year. That's the average. Okay. Now, did it go up every year, year after year after year? No, went up really big here, went down really big here. And then in the last 10 years, we've gone up 9% per year every year on average. Okay, so again, just like the stock market, we were going up and down with all of this, but let's just project that forward a second and say, what would happen if we just took, and we started this year, and let's pretend you bought a $200,000 house. And you used a mortgage to buy this $200,000 house. Let's look at the difference between volatility and stability, okay? Now, what's happened so far this year in Phoenix is the stock market has gone down 5.7%. So my $200,000 is now worth $189,000. The real estate market in Phoenix has gone up 9%, but I'm going to say 8%. So now my real estate is now worth $216,000. And in addition to that, my tenant paid down my loan by $300 a month. So if I add my equity buildup, if I add both of these, appreciation and principal reduction, I'm now $32,000 ahead of the stock market this year. Are you following me? Okay, now let's just pretend. And let's pretend the stock market is just going to give us a straight 6% every year. And let's pretend that the real estate market is going to give us a straight 4% every year in appreciation, year after year after year. It takes us 15 years to recover the loss in the stock market this year, and for the stock market to be more beneficial than real estate. So in year 16, I now have 452,000, and in real estate, I have 447,000. So if we were just to assume stability, which one do you suppose your clients would prefer? 15 years worth of stability and positive growth, or 15 years worth of, I hope the Dow gives me 6% return. I hope that I can get this out of my 401k. I hope that I can get this. I'm going to tell you that they hope, but they don't expect. All right, so what happens? What do we say? First of all, this is the cycle. Real estate goes up in value for 10 to 15 years, then it adjusts. But the price floor that it adjusts to is higher than when it started. Then it goes up and then it adjusts, and then it goes up and then it adjusts. That's why we call our book hold. Okay? The thing is, you'll never lose money. And if you want to write this down, please do. Tell all your clients you'll never lose money on a property you didn't sell. If the property is creating a positive cash flow for you, why would you ever sell? You'll never lose money on a property that didn't sell. So here's your opportunity. Here's some statistics. Write it down, put it in your business plan. 90% are interested, people that you know are interested in putting their money into real estate. Better Homes and Gardens did this survey 4 years ago, and the numbers are even bigger now. They've made more money in the stock market, as some of them have, as the stock market's gone up, and they're looking for the safe place to put their money. 80%, 8 out of 10 people that you know believe real estate is one of the best financial legacies to leave their family. 83% of parents would consider buying a property for their child or their grandchild if they only knew how. Why don't they? Well, they don't know enough. The financial illiteracy comes back, number one. Number two, they think it takes too much time because they figure they've got to learn how to do it. And then they go, oh, well, I don't have the money, and so I can't get into this, and it's way too risky. But 3 out of 10 of those people that said, this is why I don't, said, I would do it if only I knew a real estate investment professional or the resources to explain how to get started. Is there any wonder why everybody's on YouTube trying to figure out how to make this work and they're not calling you? It's because it's not part of your business plan yet. They're going to YouTube to get the information. Of the people that have already done it, 8 out of 10 said they would like to do more. And 80% of the people who've never invested in real estate said they would like to do this. What kind of odds would you have if you made this part of your business plan? What kind of odds of success would you have if you made this part of your business plan? It's absolutely huge. Okay, I'm going to stop for just a second. So if you got any questions, because I can't see if there's a chat thing or anything like that. Is there anything coming up, Jessica, that I need to address?
Not in the chat, no.
Okay.
Guys, anybody want to interject right here?
I have a question. This is Melissa. I know that I have invested in real estate, so short-term leases, long-term lease homes. And so I do encourage my clients. And one of the objections that everybody makes when I'm telling them that is, my fear is I'll have a mortgage on something with no renter that I don't know that I should do that. How do you address that?
Yeah, that's a great fear. The only reason that happens is if you overprice it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If you're asking too much for rent, it's not going to rent. So you drop the rents down. So if that's a concern of yours, buy a property and project the rents at a lower rate.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way to answer it. Thank you.
Okay?
Steve, I have a question too. So when you are, I'm assuming you may get to this, you mentioned at the very beginning that every listing that we take should also have, we should also be doing an investment net sheet, basically. Like
Yes.
if this were an investment, what would it make? Do you have I mean, I have certain numbers that I review with my clients on that, but, you know, I talk about what they should put aside per month for, you know, issues and for rental specifically. And I talk about, you know, not to forget HOA, like holding fees, things like that. And then what kind of return that they would get after, if they're going to do a mortgage or pay cash. But is there like a form, or not a form, but some kind of
Yes.
form you go
So
through
Jessica,
basically?
remind me, I'll send you a copy of the spreadsheet I
Okay.
use.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, if you go to our YouTube channel on it's called TCT Property Management, and you go to our YouTube channel, I am currently recording a series of videos that answer all of these questions, like somebody's got equity, should I cash out? Or why should I invest? Or real estate versus stock market. And so we're posting all of those up, and you can use that as a resource for yourself and a resource for your clients.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, now here's what we want to get to, and this is where you need to educate your clients, because the conversation needs to be about the return on investment. I will bet you that 9 out of 10 have no idea what the ROI is on their 401k. That 9 out of 10 have no idea, they just hope it's growing and they hope that their person will do well for them. And so I just want to show you this, and this is one of the videos that I put up on a YouTube channel, and it's TCT, Tom, Charlie, Tom, Property Management. And so here's an example, and I don't know how much time I have, but there's a story behind this example. But let's just start with $31,000, and let's say this is what you're going to invest for a 15-year period of time. And let's say you put the money in the bank, and you're able to get a 2% CD that's going to pay you 2% over that period of time. Your $31,000 just grew to $42,000 almost. And so while that's better than nothing, it's not really great. Let's just say that the stock market's going to get you 6 to 10, so let's presume we're going to get 8, and we'll be, okay, your stock market would give you $98,000 return on your $31,000 invested over that 15-year period of time. But let's say that you put the money into real estate instead. Now remember, if you're putting $31,000 into stocks, you're going to buy $31,000 worth of stock. If you put $31,000 into real estate, could that be 20% down on a $150,000 house? Could that be 10% down on a $300,000 house? Right? Okay. So because of the advantages of real estate, which again is another video that I put up, real estate is really easy to get a 15% ROI. Look at the difference. We go from 100,000 to $250,000. Could you make 20% in real estate? We've been doing it in Phoenix. Can you make 25% in Phoenix in real estate? We've been doing it in Phoenix. So I don't want to put labels on your market, but the issue is ROI makes a huge difference with the same 31,000 invested for the same period of time. So what should you be focusing on? And then you go back and you say, well, shouldn't I pay attention to the ROI on my current investments? What am I actually getting from them? What could I get if I went to Keller and I used the 0+ mortgage and I borrowed out, or like right now I'm borrowing out on one of my investment properties at 3.5%. And so I borrow out at 3.5%, and I can go and I can make 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever the, why wouldn't you be doing that? Because they don't know and understand, and they don't have you to lead them, and that's why we're talking to you about it. So what is financial freedom? The income to fund your life without having a job. That's it. That's my definition of it. Okay. So here's a financial freedom strategy. You're sitting there talking to your clients, and the first thing you do is you determine how much cash flow do I need at retirement, or do they need at retirement? And then you purchase the number of properties in order to reach that goal. And then after the last property is purchased, so let's say it's 5, you quit buying properties and you start paying them off with the rents that you're receiving. Not most people think that what they need to do is pay their house off, and they're doing it with their money, and it happens to be after tax money instead of doing it with somebody else's. And then the increase in the rents, as the rent dollars are coming up, you're paying off your properties. After you pay off the first one, use the funds to pay off the next one and the next one and the next one. And then after they're all paid off, you have the number of houses with a passive income coming from those houses. And by the way, do not tell them to manage the properties by themselves. Nobody buys real estate to have a part-time job in property management unless they're thinking small. You have it taken care of for them so they can cruise all over the world for months on end and they don't have to worry about what's going on with the properties. Okay? There's a potential in this to have $10,000 a month free and clear, plus $3 million worth of real estate over those periods of time. If you that's just one strategy that you can employ. And again, in the interest of time, because we're moving quickly, that's our purpose, is give them the book, have them read the book, say, is this something you'd be interested in? Now, if you got a better book, give them a different one, but lead generate by creating the conversation around them about building wealth. So look, if your client database and you just sell a property, one client per month, 250,000 times a 3% commission, that's an additional $90,000 worth of income to you. Could you buy a rental property with that? That's just by changing your business strategy to say, I'm going to commit to finding one client per month that wants to do what 80% of the people in your database already want to do. Well, what if it was 3 of them? Okay, what does that look like? Oh, well, there's an additional $270,000. So what I didn't tell you about at the very beginning was when I moved from New York to Arizona, I knew nobody. I got in the real estate business a year later, and I didn't know anybody in Arizona except for people that were renting apartments. And so I called back home. I called my parents. I called my grandparents. I called my friends. And I said, you can't believe what's going on. And they started investing in real estate, which got me started investing in real estate. And that's how I grew and built my business. Now, it's obvious that you'll go faster, farther if you got a team, right? And so what does the team look like? Your client doesn't have the team. So what's your responsibility? You bring the property manager that's going to manage their property. You bring the lawyer in that if they want an LLC, they get it. You bring an insurance agent in that helps them buy not only a landlord policy, but an umbrella policy to cover them so they're not worried about and you bring a financial advisor that knows and understands real estate and invests in real estate themselves. If all they do is invest in the stock market, wrong. Your job is to bring in the team. When you do that, you make it easy for them to say yes. Why do they say no? Because they don't see you as an investment professional. They see you as the person that helps them buy and sell houses. So I'm talking to the ALC.
Can I ask you a question real quick? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question. When you say you bring in the lender and you bring in the financial advisor and so forth, at what point do you carry that conversation? So I encourage my clients to invest, and I'm blessed to have several that do. With that being said, they're all, let's make sure the house is 50 miles away from my current residence so it can be considered a second home loan. How far do you go into that conversation of the lending?
Well, if you start with what do you need to create in the first place, each one of those is a different strategy. Some people go, I don't want to own anything far away from home, right? So I love your question, because if you're doing investor seminars, how cool would it be to have your lender there? And you don't answer the questions for them. You point them to the lender. What does that do for the lender? Gives the lender credibility. What about the CPA? What about the insurance person? And then let's take it a step further. And how would your clients that are currently investing feel if you invited them to sit on a panel and give success stories? What do you suppose that would do with your relationship with them?
Yeah, that
So
sounds
you
great.
take it and you just keep plussing it. You keep creating that conversation. And as the ALC, you guys should be coming together to say, how do we do this together so that all of us are raising not only our current investments, but building our business, helping our clients invest, and we're supporting each other in making all this happen. You'll change the culture of your market center. But you have to talk about it all the time. It's like
Yes,
potty
thank
training,
you.
right? If you're not telling your little kid to go to the bathroom without doing it in a diaper, they're not going to do it unless you keep that conversation going.
Yeah, I can foresee like, you know, there a lot of people are doing like buyer seller seminars right now since COVID started, like online and Zoom. These would be excellent opportunities to get people that are not first time home buyers. I mean, don't get me wrong, those are great, but people that are outside of like doing a seminar that's not a first time home buyer seminar, and
Right.
people that are interested, like you said, it seems like a really high number. And I always have people that are interested in talking about it, but maybe
Are
they
you
don't feel
having
like
multiple
they're
offers in
prepared.
your area?
Yes.
Okay, so are we. So I got our best friend, their next door neighbor, put the house up for sale, 52 showings in 36 hours with 18 offers. Sold it for 10% over market, right?
Wow.
Who did they sell it to? They sold it to an investor who is not worried about the appraisal. Why would they sell it to an investor who is not worried about the appraisal? Because the investor knows the other 17 people are going to be bidding up the prices. And what he wants to do is to get the best property right now at today's rate, and then come in and refinance it after the fact with a Keller mortgage and be able to put the loan on it. And so you're educating your investor to say, what's the goal right now? The goal right now is to get the property, not to get the lower price. Because if you're going to get the lower price, you're getting a substandard property. You want to get the one everybody wants. You want to be the one that gets it. And so you have to help them determine, is it a 5% premium over market or is it a 10 based on how fast your market's going up? And then the goal is to lock in as much of this low interest 30-year fixed rate mortgage as they can, because rents always follow interest rates. So if the cost of owning a home continues to go up, guess what happens? What rents follow the interest rates. So if you're looking at long-term, you're providing the education that they need, you're providing the information, the resources that they want, the services like property management and all of that kind of stuff. And now your job is to go find them the property and have them be the most competitive bidder. I've got so many real estate agents that are thinking the wrong way about this and going, I can't get properties from my investor because there's multiple offers and they're bidding up the price. Well, guess what the market is? It's the bidded up price. And the goal is to be able to acquire the market, if it's got a positive cash flow, acquire the property, bring on the leverage at a low interest rate, and then and rent it for a positive cash flow. And now it doesn't matter if the market goes up or down, you've locked in the benefits of today's market buying the best house on the market. But we don't talk to our people that way. Our people think the way you buy real estate is to buy it less than listed price. Okay, so I'm on my soapbox, so you can pull me back down if you want to.
We like it.
Okay, you got to make it part of it. And the thing is that when I'm doing these seminars for people and we're out there and it's like, okay, our book became a national bestseller. We're a 4.5 on Amazon. And I want to ask you guys a favor. If you've read the book and you like it, would you give me a review on Amazon so that we can keep the reviews fresh? If you haven't read the review, if you haven't read it, then give me a good review on Amazon, because you know somebody else who read it and said it's a good thing. Okay.
There you go.
But Keller, we got to keep this. We got to keep this lead generation tool in front of people, and we got to keep it fresh and relevant for people, because we went back for 40 years to do the research on it. And you know what we found over 40 years? The average interest rate was 6%. You know what we found over the 40-year period was that the average appreciation was 4%. This is the time to get interest at an extremely low rate. Make sure the cash flow is positive. Don't put them into a situation where somebody says, oh, you can write off the negative cash flow. Yes, you can. Don't do it. Okay. Property management team. You need the insurance person. And I have a guy that right now in Arizona, and it's different in different states, but right now nobody beats State Farm for the landlord coverage and the type of coverage you can get. You're going to have to interview insurance agents to say, what kind of landlord coverage do you have? And it changes every year. So make sure that your team is bringing the best information. Make sure that your financial advisor not only understands real estate, but invests in real estate. If you're going to recommend a financial advisor on your team, they darn well better be one of your clients. Otherwise, why would you do it? Number one. Number two, self-directed IRAs are huge. And people are buying real estate inside of their self-directed IRAs, and they're using that money in order to create that. The infinite banking system is huge. There's so many ways that we can help people build wealth. What's our job? You just go find the opportunities for them. If you've got the team together, don't manage the properties, don't advise them, bring them to the seminars or the Zoom meetings, or just the mastermind group that you do with the ALC and a few of your preferred clients to mastermind on wealth building, to mastermind on how do we all build it, and invite your people to come along. You're going to create a conversation and an experience for them that's going to change their perspective of who you are, what you do, and what you bring to the table for them, because you've brought the team, you're the opportunity provider. So I ask all the clients this, is there a need to build wealth? Okay. True or false? The people that you know want to own rental properties. True or false?
True.
True. They want somebody to just show them, guide them, help them make the decision, get them past their fears. True or false?
True.
Are you a trusted advisor with a great team? True or false?
Not yet.
Okay. So it's like, okay, what's our business plan? And I would encourage your ALC to get together. Are you guys, I don't know, we're still meeting for a glass of beer or a glass of wine, but it's not all COVID related here. But anyway, get together however it is that you want and have a conversation as the ALC to come up with what's your plan? What's your plan to do this? Number one. Number two, remember I started talking about passive income. Who do you want to recruit into your market center that you would invite into that mastermind? Joining Keller Williams is experiential. What if they experienced you? See, I had this awesome podcast, and I don't even remember the guy's name, but he just joined Keller Williams. He rejoined Keller Williams, and he was talking in a podcast, and they said, why did you rejoin? And he said it so succinctly, bigger conversations more often. Bigger conversations more often. He thought life was better somewhere else, and he came back. Create those conversations. All right, how much time do we have?
15 minutes.
All right, let's get started, okay? Let's make it practical. Number one, get your GPS out and share your GPS with every other member of the ALC. That's number one. And if you don't have a GPS, if you just start one, you'll be better off. And put investor smart plans and investor seminars into your GPS. Number two, be on purpose about it, okay? If you could invest $10 into one of your clients that turned into a commission, would it be worth it? What would be the ROI on that? Okay, now, why would you do that? Because here's your business goal. Write it down, 2 for 1 in 12. 2 for 1 in 12. I want you to create 2 additional transactions for every closing in a 12-month period of time. 2 additional transactions in a 12-month period of time for every 1 closing. Well, how do you do that? Well, you get a referral from them. There's one. You have them buy an investment property. There's one. You have them buy 2 investment properties. There's one. You have them bring their friends in that want to buy investment properties. There's one. It's all about what's your business plan to create 2 for 1 and 12. So what happens to your business if you do that? It doubles every year. Okay? And so if you just created 1 investor transaction, we have already demonstrated that'll make you an additional 100 grand. If you did 2, that'd make you 200 grand. It's like, hello. So start the conversation with them, give them a book and set a time to discuss it with them over coffee or wine or whatever. And then you're going to call prospective investments or find prospective investments and then give them a call. All right, now what's a prospective investment? Every listing that you take, you run an investment analysis. I'm going to give you the spreadsheet. And then if it's got a better than a 4 or 5% cash on cash return, or cap rate, if it's got better than a cap rate of 4 or 5%, you're already better than the stock market, because the cap rate assumes they paid all cash for the house. You have to pay all cash for the stock. Okay, so there's one that's already better because there's more benefits than just the growth of the stock. Okay, all right, now here's the script I use. I use a script and I called my database and I said, I look at properties every day. That's what we teach in Ignite. We teach them look at 10 properties per week, preview properties every week. Now in Phoenix, it's almost impossible because the property's sold in 2 days, sometimes in 2 hours. But the thing is, you're looking at properties every week in some way or another. When I find a great investment, and maybe another way of saying it is when I find a good deal, would you like to know about it? That's it. And if they say yes, you tag them in command. And those are the people that you're going to absolutely go out and find a deal. And what's the deal? Well, if it's making better than a 4 or 5% cap rate, which you'll be able to calculate on the spreadsheet, if it's better than a 4 or 5% cap rate, that's the deal. If you can get a 3.5% loan, that's the deal. If they can move from where they are to the property they want to be in, and they keep the one they have as an investment property, and they get less than 3%, that's the deal. It's like getting in on today's market, making that happen. So you're going to talk with them. The very first thing is they set their property criteria, and it's in the book. We talk about that. Where would you buy or not buy? And I love the fact that somebody brought up and said, you know what, I want it 50 miles away so I can have it as a second home. What kind would it? Is it got to be multifamily, or can it be single family? Is it going to be a condo? Or what about the economics of the area? What about the condition of the home? What about the features and amenities? Would you buy one with a pool or not with a pool? You're having that conversation so you can tailor the property to what they say. This is what I'd say yes to, and this is what I'd say no to, and don't show them anything they'd say no to. Invite your clients to the free seminars. Excuse me. Put the seminars on. Now, when we get traveling again, so I'm already booked to go to Anchorage. I'm already booked to go to Nashua, New Hampshire. I'm booked to go to Minneapolis to do these seminars. But you don't need me to do it. You can put on the seminars and make sure that they bring other members of the family with them. It's not just one person coming back to share the information. You know what happens with the game of rumor, right? You whisper in one person's ear and then they whisper in the next person, and 2, 3 people down, it doesn't even start to look like what you said. How do you help parents and grandparents invest to cover tuition or retirement dreams? And use the script. Okay, now here's what we're going to practice. All right. So I want everybody unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. This is going to be like bold. Okay. How do you learn the script? Say it 5 times as fast as you possibly can. Okay. And so when I say go, and I'm the contact. So it's, hi, Steve. As part of my job, I preview properties regularly. From time to time, I run across a really good deal. When I find a great real estate investment, would you be interested in knowing about it? Okay. You got it?
Got it.
5 times.
Got it.
Go.
Hi, Steve.
Hi,
As a part of
Steve.
my
Part of my job.
You can.
properties regularly. From
Part of my
time to
job,
time,
it's
I
a really good
run
deal.
across
When
a
I
really
find a
good
great
deal.
real estate
When I
home,
find
would
a
you be
great
interested in
real
know
estate
about it?
investment, would you be interested in
A great real estate
knowing
investment.
about
Would
it?
you be
About it?
interested to know about it? It's a really good deal. Hi, Steve. As part of my job, I
Be interested
to know about it.
From time to time, I run across a really good deal. When I find a great real estate investment, would you be interested in knowing about it?
To know about it?
Steve, as part of my job, I preview properties regularly. From time to time, I run across a really good deal.
I find a great deal.
Great deal, real estate
Would you be interested to know about it?
Would you
A
be
great real
interested
estate
in
investment.
Would you be interested in knowing about it?
Hi, Steve. Part of my
Steve,
job,
as part of my job, I preview regularly. From time to time, I run across a really good deal.
I find
Find a great real estate investment, would you be interested in knowing about it? Hey, Steve, as part of my job, I preview
Now see it without looking
From
at
time
it.
to time, I run across a really good deal.
Good deal.
When I find a really good real estate,
when I
would you be
find a
interested in
great
knowing about it?
deal?
Say it without looking. Hi, Steve.
Oh my.
Hi, Steve. As part of my job, I review properties
I'll buy
regularly.
properties
From time to
regularly.
time, I run across a really good deal. When I find a
Run
great
across
real estate
good
investment,
deal.
would you be
When I
interested in
find a
knowing
good
about it?
deal,
Knowing
would
about
you
it.
be interested in knowing about it? Oh, that was a little tougher.
Okay, but you got it
That was
pretty close.
awesome.
So it's like, is that an easy conversation to have?
Yeah.
Categorize your
Super
database, tag the
easy.
people that said yes, and then start sharing information with them. Tag the people that said yes, and you can say, hey, I found this YouTube channel and they've got these videos on it. Now give me a chance to get them up. I'm going on vacation. But I'm putting up all of these to reinforce all this information for you and how to make all of this stuff happen, okay? 1031 exchanges. If you don't know what a 1031 exchange is, bring somebody into your market center to teach it. Using personal banking strategies. If you're not aware of what the personal banking strategies are, bring somebody into your market center to teach it. And bring a CPA in so that you as an ALC are focused on financial intelligence, and you're changing the ignorance, whatever level you currently have, and elevating your ability to be a trusted advisor. Now, you can use your commission for a down payment. Commissions are totally negotiable. And I want to share with you, do you have Open Door or OfferPad in your area?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have Zillow buying houses in your area?
Mm-hmm.
Are people accepting less money for their equity based on the convenience that Zillow, Open Door, and OfferPad are giving them for a cash deal?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Why can't you? So if they're getting 10% less, could you get a 10% commission?
Yep.
Say yes.
Yes.
Okay, guess what? With a 10% commission, you can borrow 90% of the sales price. If they're willing to accept less and you're willing to allow them to rent the property back until they decide to move, which takes away their fears of listing houses when there's low inventory, would they accept 15 to 20% less? Say yes.
Yes.
They're doing it, right? So you can get a 15 to 20% commission and you can get a mortgage for the rest. You can buy these properties without having to put up cash if you just start thinking creatively and understand that I'm going to serve the best interests of my clients. And many of us are not, because they're choosing Zillow, Open Door, and OfferPad over us because Zillow gave them what they wanted. OfferPad gave them what they wanted, which is convenience, cash, closing date, no showings, all of that kind of stuff. Make it happen for yourself. Grandparents. Okay, I want to talk about that and I'll kind of finish up with this, but this would be one of the things I would tell people if you brought your clients to the seminar. Our grandparents and people my age, I'm a grandparent, we were taught to buy a house and pay it off and to own it free and clear. And we were taught that that's the financially smart thing to do. When you read my book, you'll see that my grandfather was reading the stock reports one time, and he said to me, Stevie, buy good stocks like General Electric and RCA. Can you buy RCA stock anymore? Is General Electric a good buy anymore? But that's what he knew and he understood, and it was pay off your house. So we have grandparents that are sitting on equity because they were told that that is the right thing to do and their equity is doing nothing for them. We have what are called reverse mortgages, where they can get about 60% of the equity in their house and not have to make a payment, ever. What if they took that 60% and bought a house that had $1,000 a month positive cash flow? What would that do to their lifestyle? What if they bought that house and they said, because we bought this house will pay for our grandchildren's education, college education. And so if they've got a 4, 5, 6-year-old grandchild and you gave that house 15 years to appreciate and the tenant to pay it down, do you realize that you could pay for 8 years of college with one? But the grandparents are sitting on equity that's doing nothing for them, creating no cash flow. And that's just one way to be able to create cash flow and to have a multi-generational solution.
Hey, Steve, real quick, I just want to, can you go back to your example with the grandparents and using their equity? Because I'm not good at doing numbers in my head, but if you give me the story. So you're saying that they could take, like, would they sell their house? Would they take equity out of their house to buy another one? Is that what you're suggesting?
No. Let's say they got a $200,000 house.
Mm-hmm.
They can borrow about 60%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, from the reverse mortgage.
Right.
Okay.
And they would have no payments, which is what they value, right?
Yeah.
They value free and clear. Why? Because of no payments. So they can pull the money out and have no payments.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could go 80% loan to value and their kids could make the payments for them.
Mm.
Okay. So they pull the cash out and they pull the cash out at a low interest rate right now. And then they go and they take the money and they buy another house that has a positive cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
So
now they have two houses, the house they have the reverse mortgage on, and then
yes,
the new house. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
And then that money will make them the money that they need to do whatever.
Then what do? You buy another property, and even if you have to put a loan on the other property, you have the tenant paying off the loan for you.
Right.
You have the tenant paying for it rather than them paying for it. Yet they don't even realize that they can do this because they thought the best thing to do is have my property free and clear. They thought it was smart to do that, and it is in a sense, but it's a waste of a resource when their kids aren't probably making enough to be able to do that, don't have enough equity to be able to do that, and they're trying to use a 529 fund to save up for a college education using the stock market.
Right. Okay, I get it. Thank you.
All right. So here's the recap. You can get everything in life that you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. Number one. Number two, you don't have to be expert at this to get started, but you have to get started. And you have to get started saying, I'm going to educate myself on this. And so when we wrote the book Hold, we wrote it as the safe, secure strategy for acquiring real estate. So if all you do is go to your clients and say, here, read this book, it was a national bestseller. And let me know if this is something you'd like to do, and all you have to do is help them do what's in the book. You don't have to get fancy and sophisticated with this, but the fancy and sophisticated will come later. Why? Because 9 out of 10 people want to do it. 83%, 8 out of 10 people would consider doing it for a child or a grandchild. How many of you know a grandparent that likes their grandchildren better than their own children? Okay, so your clients, your friends, your family, they need you to be more. You're on the ALC, you're leading this company, you're leading your businesses, you're leading your clients, you're leading your friends and your families based on the conversation that you create around them. Number one, I want you to learn to value passive income. Number two, there's more than one way to create passive income. My dad bought an annuity to create passive income, and it was a horrible investment, but it was all he knew how to do. He was a dentist. He wasn't a financial guy. And so people want passive income. Where's it going to come from? From their investments. Cash is not an asset. Cash is a tool to buy assets that create cash flow. If you put a powerful team together and you start masterminding around these concepts and these conversations, you will create more with your current database, number one. Number two, you invite other people that you know and love inside of your community to be a part of this conversation, and you will build your passive income with Keller Williams profit sharing, which quite frankly, I just got off the profit sharing task force meeting, and we were talking about the lies that are being told by another company that has an X in their name, and the longevity of how our passive income works when theirs doesn't. And so you'll see more of that. It's coming out. But we expect our ALCs to be the one that value passive income, yet what our research is showing is they don't. Why not? Because they're financially illiterate. So create the conversation. You'll do more business, and then make the commitment. So on our ALC in our office right now, we have 3 ALC members that require every member of their team to do a financial analysis of every listing they take, so that they build the skill, and so that they go, oh, well, there's a good deal. This is better. Here's the outlier. I should be interested in buying this one. How about if we put some people together to buy this one? You don't know if it is if you don't know how to look for it. So, okay, I'll get off my soapbox now. Any other questions?
I'm looking forward to getting that spreadsheet. So I appreciate that.
Yep, happy to share.
Great information. Just now I'm pumped up, ready to share the information with my clients.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome. Okay, so can I coach you on that?
Please do.
Okay, are you going to be the system, or are you going to create a system that does it without your effort?
That.
No,
You're the
I'm the system.
Uh-huh.
layers
Yeah,
of financial.
I'm going to suggest to you that you create a system that makes you the expert, but not the system.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay. Thank you for sharing, Vince. Thanks for letting me coach. Let me know how it works out.
I
And
will.
really what I'm thinking is just put a smart plan into, this is so simple, but put a smart plan in and make sure that every one of the people that said, yeah, I'd like to know about it, make sure that every one of them has your app on their phone.
Yep. Good idea.
Use the platform that we've got and look and go, oh, wow. Because when we're labbing the platform that Gary's putting together, the labbing comes from the people that are using it and going, well, what if it did this? What if it did this? And then we got people making it do what we want it to do. It's like, this is so freaking cool. But we have to lead it. All right, other comments, questions?
All right. Well, Steve, thank you so much. That was fabulous. And we will look forward to getting that spreadsheet. And then if any further questions come up, can we pass those along to you?
Oh yeah, of course.
Perfect.
Yeah, this is my passion, to leave a legacy in our company of people that have financial independence for multiple generations. So so the answer is yes. And there's 2 spreadsheets coming. The first one is the investment analysis spreadsheet, and the second one is the net worth tracking spreadsheet.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Thank you very much. So we are just going to